Dating apps might make it easier to meet people, but finding something that sticks, it's harder than it looks. While chemistry might get you through dinner, it's shared values like how you handle your money that keep relationships going strong. My next guest knows a lot about dating and finances. Jason Tartick is a former contestant on The Bachelorette, and he hosts a business podcast called Trading Secrets. And I got the chance to sit down with him, so take a listen. Jason, you dated on national television. What's one thing that really surprised you the most about dating in that environment?
Oh, I mean, it's hard enough to just date in real life. And then when you have cameras and producers around, it's a whole nother level. But I guess like the positive takeaway from that is when you don't have your phone or any distractions, the ability to connect is so much deeper. When we were filming for the show for 3 months, didn't have my phone for 1 minute of it. And I remember after that saying like, I don't want it back. But there were a lot of takeaways. That was one of them.
Oh my gosh, I think everyone should maybe take a little hiatus from their phone. That sounds nice. And you lived in Seattle. So talk to me about the dating scene here, because I am single right now. And I have to say, no, I'm just going to hear your thoughts. What are your thoughts?
You know, I will say, like, before I moved, I came from New York and people warned me about the Seattle freeze. And I was like, I'm an extrovert. If there's a Seattle freeze, I'll break right into that. But I did have a little bit trouble in the dating scene in Seattle, but I didn't have too much time. It was like 2-3 months. And I remember that it was shortly thereafter the Bachelorette called, and I was working in banking and finance at the time in Seattle. And so, you know, the dating scene, I remember I had a couple good dates, but it was a little harder to land a date than it was in New York.
Gosh, if we could all just get like that. What's one piece of dating advice that you wish more people followed?
Yeah, you know, so today I'm actually here with Chime.com. And so one of the big things that we're talking about is there is a massive generational shift right now in how we're dating and also changing our scope on finances. So, you know, back in the day, like just it's such a taboo talk to have these conversations about what you earn and what your income is. But Chime just did a survey, and what they came in with was that 50% of millennials and Gen Z are actually now saying on dates it's attractive when someone is open to talking about their income, as opposed to baby boomers, where only 23% of them agree with that.
That's so interesting. And so with the traditional financial expectations, what's shifted there too?
I think one of the things that I found in this survey that was like the most interesting is that 33% of daters right now are saying that people who overspend and overconsume are turning them off. So these generational shifts are very substantial. But one of the big things that's consistent with all daters, whether you're a baby boomer, millennial, or Gen Z, is that 74%, so almost 3/4, are saying that the rising costs today are substantially impacting their dating lives. And this one blew me away, that 31% of people and daters are actually canceling their dates because of the cost. So obviously those are concerns, but I think when we hear these numbers, we realize that majority of people are feeling this and seeing this, and rising costs can actually create shared connection. And so connection can be built on intention then, as opposed to consumption in dollars.
This is amazing information and just makes complete sense. So what would you say are some of your top financial deal breakers?
Top financial deal breaks, especially as it relates to dating, what I would say is lying, right? So in married and cohabitating couples, I wrote a book called Talk Money to Me, and we learned that 43% of married and cohabitating couples, at least one person is materially lying and stealing and cheating through their finances. That's almost half. So as a result of that, if someone's lying about their finances, big red flag to me. And then I think we also judge income and debt and credit score. And my entire opinion of that, throw that out the door. We can easily fix those things. So what I would say is let's get rid of judgment.
Definitely. And what's your advice for singles who want to bring up like their financials early on too, without killing the vibe?
You can't just come in. What's your income? What's your debt? I think you got to make those money conversations super playful. So you can ask a question like, if you're given $1 million today, and you got to spend it all in 24 hours, where are you going to spend it and why? And just those curiosities will drive great creativity. You'll get to understand the priority of your significant other, the date you're on, and how they prioritize spending. And it allows for a little bit of a runway for those harder conversations.